My name's Phil Clarke and I'm a professional theatre director. I've been directing in theatre for nearly 50 years and I specialise in directing work for young audiences and with young people. Directing for me is about leadership, and that is about creating an ensemble of actors to do storytelling. The rehearsal room is a crucible in which to create ideology, new ideas, and to inspire new language and inventiveness. The most important thing for me is to create a shared language so that everybody in the room knows what we're talking about. Nobody feels left out. Everybody is included. It's an inclusive process and everybody owns the product. That's what's important, that when we see the finished production, everybody has ownership of the content. Nobody is bluffing. People have a genuine ownership, whether it's Shakespeare, an improvised piece of theatre, or a modern language text. The most important is that the performers own the idea. As a director, I am often there on behalf of the audience. So I step outside the process when I watch the performers performing, making sure that the audience, whether it's a young audience or an older audience, are clear of what they're watching and they understand what they're watching. I quite often say, when I'm working with young audiences, that the aim is that the child in the audience never has to turn to their parents to say what is going on. The aim is to bring the theatre to have an inclusive relationship with its audience, no matter what age. I want to create within the rehearsal room an environment of trust, that everybody feels they can trust each other and everybody can share the language and not feel left out. That will ensure creativity. Once we get that creativity, we will create that language and it will be unique to that rehearsal room. Then, when we've got that, we can then go public with the process and the product. There are no problems, there are only solutions. And it's your job to be part of the solution and not the problem. So therefore, think, why can't we do it this way? What if we did it that way? What if we did it this way, that way? So we're creating new ways of finding that voice. That's the environment I like to create as a director in order to make a piece of theatre. I want to leave you with one idea of how to make sure that the work that you're doing is honest. Don't just learn the lines and repeat them. I want you to understand the lines. So here's an exercise. Take one of the speeches of the characters, read it. Now read it out loud and decide when the thought changes inside the speech. So you start to speak and then there's a change. Draw a line. Carry on. Their thought changes again. Draw a line. So you break up the speech to understand the thought process of the character. You understand how their brain works. You learn how to crawl inside the character and have ownership of the speech. You're not just learning the lines and missing the furniture, you're owning the language. So in the same way as I was talking earlier about having ownership of the process, I want you to have ownership of the moment and the character and the character's thoughts. Very important. Sometimes We're closer to being scientists than we are artists, because our work is very, 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 very intense, and we are analysing at all points. Most important thing, enjoy it and celebrate the imagination.